What's up, ladies and gentlemen? A little bonus content from the Brew. We're doing something new here. We're going to do mid-season grades on this Wisconsin Badger team. And yeah, it's been night and day. This 2026 Badger team is much better than the 2025 Badger team in November and December. But Mike, I can start us off, and I will go with Nick Boyd will be our first guy. And I will say, in 2025, I'm going to give him a B minus. And the reason why I'm doing that is his numbers were good. Like he was getting his buckets, but it felt like he wasn't lifting up his teammates. Felt as if him and Blackwell were not meshing together. And now him and Blackwell have found this gel together. They are flowing with one another. Love seeing them bro out after the game today. This is recorded January 31st after the Ohio State game. They were broing out in the interview. But yeah, super impressed with Blackwell in 2026. I'm giving him an A plus in 2026. He's dropping dimes. He's scoring more points now than he was in 2025. But now he's dropping more dimes. He's lifting up his teammates. He's a true point guard, making them much better. And he's barely turning the ball over. Just dropping a lot of really accurate passes. And in the last 8 games, not counting today against Ohio State, but 21.3 points per game, 4.4 assists per game, 4.1 rebounds, and very few turnovers per game. So he is getting an A in 2026, A plus in 2026, B minus in 2025. And overall, I'll give him an A minus.
So big pickup in the portal was Nick Boyd. Obviously, he was a very exciting piece for the Badgers to pick up earlier this year, or last year. We're in 26 now. So yeah, I would say overall for the grade that I give him, especially coming in as a transfer player and learning this team, 25 was a little bit, the beginning of the season was a little bit rough for him. And it wasn't rough in terms of his skill set or what he was doing. It was just inconsistency and him not understanding how he needs to really run this team. So for me, I would give him a B plus. Starting the year, he was giving them what they needed, because there was also a younger team that wasn't gelled yet. They haven't kind of figured out their own chemistry. Guys were still really figuring out their roles, and he was still scoring through it. He was still doing his best to be himself. And coming in 2026, my biggest thing with him is he really has ramped up his defensive efforts, and that's really, really exploded his offense. It's really exposed teams and exposed other teams on the defensive end. He's done a great job of that, of just picking up full court, not letting guys do that. He's fighting over ball screens better. And because of that, his offense seems to be more engaged, and it's allowed him to get out and transition more, where he absolutely excels. So, right now I'm giving him an A for the season overall. I think he's done a great job being a senior leader, coming into a new team, always a difficult thing to do, and be that kind of guy. And the guys have really rallied around him. Like you said, him and Blackwell, both alphas, they've broed out together after this last interview. So it's great to see him do that. And yeah, overall, it's an A so far. We need him to continue to do what he's doing at a high level.
Absolutely. And then the next guy we'll look at, and I'm going to try, you go as long as you want. I'm going to try doing the 30-second rule we discussed off camera. And I'm going to go rapid fire, or not rule, but just like idea that, where we go a little rapid fire. I'm going to go 30 seconds starting now. John Blackwell in 2025. And I'm getting granular just on a few of these guys. B plus on John Blackwell in 2025, A in 2026. Overall, I'm going to give him an A minus as well. But Blackwell and both Boyd are basically A's and A pluses in 2026, and they are looking absolutely dangerous. I thought there was some room for improvement early on, especially on the defensive end, and I think it's getting a little bit better right now. So he's got an A minus overall with me.
For me, in the first part of the season, early part of the season, 2025 specifically, he's getting a C for me. I needed to see more defensively from him at that point, him wanting to dominate games every possession and not just on the offensive end. And then it was inconsistencies for me. He would show up some games, especially against mid-majors, but big games, it seemed like he wasn't as engaged or wasn't, the ability to make shots. Also, him and Boyd were figuring out how they were going to do this two-man heavy guard offense. So for me, it was a C. In 26, he's getting an A. Automatically, he's been great. He's picked up the defensive end as well, which has helped this team win, and hitting big shots, taking over games when we need him to take over games has been huge. So I'm really liking what I'm getting from John Blackwell. He gets an overall A as well. Our two leading scorers should get A's. They've done a great job of bringing this team back from the dead, and really their improved play is the reason why they're doing so well right now.
Yeah, and for me, basically A and A pluses in 2026. So this first month in January, just unbelievable play. But on the season, I'm sticking, yeah, A minus overall is kind of my take. And you had a really good point before we recorded. And do you want to break that down real quickly before we get into Nolan Winter and the rest of the group? Just talk about Blackwell and Boyd, the two alphas, how they were kind of going at each other in practice. You want to kind of elaborate on that? I think that's a really interesting take.
Yeah, so there was so much media and so much buildup, and there was a big story behind Blackwell and Boyd in the summer through the preseason where Gard did not let them play on the same team. It was hey, we're going to have our two best players match up against each other the whole time, which in theory makes a lot of sense, right? Iron sharpens iron. You have your two big dogs. They want to figure out, how they can beat each other. It's going to keep practices intense. It's going to be a high level, but there is a detriment factor to it, right? There was hey, they actually didn't really get to learn how to play with each other as much. They didn't get quite as many reps together. So I think that was a little bit of a detriment earlier in the season for them. They couldn't quite find their flow together because they were constantly going at each other, right? So, and they didn't learn each other as well as I had hoped they would have, or as we all hoped they would have earlier in the season. So I can understand why Coach Gard wanted to do that. There's logic behind it in terms of how I see things and how I see basketball. I would actually limit that a little bit less. I would have liked them to find chemistry, knowing that they're two scorers and the way they play, and seeing that every day in practice. I'd have been like, man, I really need them to get reps together so they can really coexist when times get tough. And earlier in the season, they didn't really know how to do that, and they have gelled beautifully this last month for sure.
Absolutely. And yeah, moving on to the next guy, we have Nolan Winter, and he's going to be the second to last guy where I kind of do half and half with the season. But Nolan Winter, first 10 games, I'm going to give a C minus. And I thought his physicality could use a lot of improvement down low, and has been improving. His hustle was there, but he just wasn't aggressive enough. And that bothered me. And then also, he was not shooting the ball well at all. He shot the ball actually horrifically in the first 10 games this season. But now, and we're talking about like 13, 14%. But in the last,
that's terrific.
Yeah, last 12 games, he's going to get an A for me. 18 of 44 from three in the last 12 games. And yeah, what I will say for him overall in the season, I'll give him an A minus as well, factoring in the entire length of the season.
Overall, for me, he's gotten an A minus for me throughout the whole year, B plus, A minus in that range. In terms of his consistency with rebounding the basketball, he has been a double-double machine. He's shooting an extremely high clip from two. Obviously, earlier in the year, that three-point shot wasn't falling, and that was kind of messing with his confidence. And since that Villanova game where he knocked down shots, you could see just his confidence grow and grow and grow and grow. And we love to see that from him. He's putting the ball on the deck more. He's being more assertive on the block when he gets the basketball and rolls as well. So for me, he's been one of the more constants within this team, especially because of how he rebounds, how hard he plays, and the way he's, getting his stuff done. It changed a little bit in the beginning part of the year, but now he's definitely getting that. So A minus for me from Nolan Winter.
Yep. Last 12 games, 14.5 points per game, 8 rebounds, 1.3 blocks per game, shooting 40.9% from three. Really, really high level stuff, and winning a lot of games, being a key piece, winning a lot of games. Yes, sir. And then next we'll go Braden Carrington. First 15 games, I'm going to give a D. I'll stick with a D. He had some good moments, but at the same time, his play contributed to Zach Kinzinger burning his red shirt because it was not looking so good for Carrington. And I believe there was a game or two where he didn't log any minutes outside of garbage time. He might have sat an entire game, but Carrington first 15 games gets a D. And then ever since then, he's getting an A plus since that Michigan game. He's getting an A plus since that star in his role. And overall in the season, I'll give him a B plus.
Nice. For me, he's getting a B plus for the whole year. I think, he showed out in some games, specifically the BYU game. He was one of the lone bright spots where he kind of showed up and did what he needed to do. From my understanding and just kind of watching some stuff, I don't think he's fully healthy throughout the whole year. I think he's having some kind of problems. Everybody's nicked up and dinged up at this time, but I think he was dealing with that early. But just him finding his stroke, him finding his role, him understanding, hey, we need you to be an elder statesman on this team. We need you to be physical, guard the wing, rebound out of your position, and his shot making ability has really changed the perspective of this team. But the biggest thing for me with him is his rebounding has increased tenfold since the Michigan game, and that hasn't stopped. So for me, he's getting a B plus. Limited minutes early, but really done really well with the opportunities and growing on that. So for me, B plus for the year.
Andrew Rohde is next, and on this one, I'll give a B minus. He's playing his role. He's crafty. He's smart, both sides of the ball, but shooting 28% from three, not what I love to see. 32% from the field. I didn't realize he was 32% from the field overall. I'm actually going to bump that down to a C plus overall in the year. He does some really good things, but I was hoping just to get a little bit more out of him when it comes to just putting the ball in the hoop. But the other stuff he does, glue guy stuff, smart basketball, high level. So he'll get a C plus from me.
So Andrew Rohde's getting a B from me, just in terms of what he's doing, where he's trying to fit in. It's a guard heavy offense where you have Boyd and Blackwell taking a bunch of shots, and you got to feed. There's a certain amount of shots that you can get. And for me, he's not overly aggressive scoring the basketball. He's not shooting the ball great, finishing around the rim. He's struggling a little bit, but in terms of his ability to play pick and roll and involve others, as well as defensive positioning, he's really taken the best defender. His job is to be the best defender on the floor, take out the best offensive wing for every other team. So he's really embraced his role. He's hit some big shots for us. So for me, he's a B player. He's got a B grade and can definitely keep improving.
And actually, I just realized I was on Stat Reference. I had the conference. I had conference selected, so only stats from conference play. I was about to say 32%. That surprises me. On the season, he is 41% from the field. So I'm bumping that back up to a B minus. I'm about to say that seems quite low, 32%.
Quite low. Quite low.
Okay. So I'm going back to B minus for Rohde. And then next, let's do Austin Rapp. Loving what I'm seeing from him lately overall on the season. And I think this can change and potentially will change. Overall in the season, I will give him a C plus, I would say, right around there. But it looks like he's figuring things out and starting to turn the corner. And I think that grade can be up come March quite a bit.
I wholeheartedly agree. For me, he's getting a C minus just because earlier in the year, and this comes from young players who are as talented as he is. He's a super talented guy. He's a big guy, so he hasn't quite figured out how to move his body, and especially jumping up levels. I think that jump up in level took a while for him to adjust, and now he's feeling much more comfortable. You can see the game is slowing down for him, and he's starting to be a complete basketball player. Now, the next 10, 12 games, the last third of this season, I really want to see if he can keep building on that. But the beginning part, it was if he wasn't making shots, he wasn't giving us much else. And now these last 3-4 games, really since the Penn State game, he's shown up. Hey, I can rebound. Hey, I can play some defense. I'll get in there and be gritty. I'll roll to the basket. He's becoming a complete player. So for me, C plus.
That's very well said, your analysis. And next one, I will go with Belauskas. I'll give him an A minus. He's doing what the Badgers need him to do. They're not, unless it's against Michigan, they're not asking him to put up 20 points a game. It's to play solid defense. And he's getting better defensively. He's starting to move his feet a little bit better and just be in the right place at the right time. And yeah, he's doing quite well for a freshman, and he's getting a lot better. So I'm going to give him an A minus.
Belauskas for me is getting an A plus, just because there's two factors. He is exactly what the Badgers need right now. He is a very low usage big who does so many incredible things for them. He sets great screens. He is a great screen center. People are getting punished on those screens, which goes a long ways, as well as his defense has been high level in terms of when he's been switched out on guys and having to deal with bigs around the basket. And the biggest thing is he's able to, when he plays the game, Winter can slide to the 4, which allows this team to be more naturally gifted. So for me, it's an A plus. Finding him and finding those minutes for him, especially with Rapp being much more of a stretch 4, not being able to play the 5 spot. He's their true 5, and he's looking more like a veteran. He's looking like a European pro. And then he gets the A plus because he's Lithuanian. I don't know what his level of English was or his skill set was. I've played in Lithuania twice. The culture is very, very different than Madison, Wisconsin is. it's coming over, it's adjusting to a lot of different things, not only a language barrier, but a cultural barrier. You're on a different time zone from all your friends. So for me, him doing that and playing as well as he has and continuing to get better, he gets an A+ for me.
That's a really, that's a great point. The dynamic, the change that was made once Belauskas was inserted to the starting lineup. And now that Rapp looks like he's starting to figure things out coming off the bench. That was huge. That was massive. So that's well said. And then the last one is Jack Janicki. And he's not shooting the ball well. I thought he'd be a little further along offensively. And yeah, I'd like to see just a little bit more from him. He's going to get a C from me. Janicki's going to get a C. I expected a little bit more from him. What about you?
For me, I'm going to have to go with like a C- for Jack. I think he does a great job effort-wise. He does what he needs to do defensively. Offensively, it's a struggle for him right now. I would love to see him today. Against Ohio State, he did a great job of actually getting downhill to his left hand. I would like to see him be more aggressive with his left hand and be more aggressive driving and getting into jump stops. But overall, like defensively, he's came in. He's done some good defensive stuff. He has unlocked a small ball lineup for them when they need to be a little bit more athletic. I give him that. That helps us out. But offensively, I was expecting him to make a bigger jump this year. But, defensively, he was doing exactly what he was a year ago. Offensively, I think he's taken a step back, which happens. Players do that from time to time. So for me, he's getting a little bit more of a lower grade C-, just because I think he's going to be a great player. I think he can grow, but we wanted more from him.
That we did. And do you want to grade anybody else? Garlock, Kinziger, anybody else, or should we wrap it up?
I think we should wrap it up. The one thing I think we should go is Greg Gard. For me, Greg Gard is definitely, and the staff themselves right now, they're getting an A. For me, I know that it was a struggle early. Gard was really struggling to grasp his team. He was kind of just searching for a lot of answers early, and he was willing to make changes. That's the other thing, right? He has made changes. He saw what he needed to do. He saw through practice. He gave a lot of opportunities early in the year to try and develop young guys. And then now that he has realized, hey, those young guys got their development opportunities, but they're not quite ready for these big games. And he's really shortened his rotation now. He's figured out where guys need to go, how many minutes, and where guys need to find shots, and how they can continue to improve their offense, right? And demand more excellence on their defense. Coach Gard's given me an A just for going out and getting guys from the portal transfer that have been absolutely effective, recruiting at a very good level, keeping Wisconsin on the map, and then just the steady improvement of this team. That's coaching. When you see a team really, really improve throughout the year, that's high-level coaching. It doesn't always translate to winning a national championship, but that's the concept of college basketball now is if you don't win a national championship, you haven't done much. It's like, well, have you developed a team? Did your team get better from day one to the last day of the season? And Coach Gard's guys have gotten better week by week. They've taken some steps back from time to time, but I mean, we've talked about it. Over the last month, this team is not the same team that we saw at the very start of the year.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed a little change up here. We're going to get more creative moving forward doing videos like this, but thank you for making it to the end of the video. Stay tuned for us on the podcast platforms, on Instagram, TikTok, and we'll see you very soon.